How's it going, guys, and welcome to this live showdown between the Lizard People and the Dark Elves. In this match, we're going to be going with Big Daddy KROQ for our Lord. I definitely think he's a pretty strong pick. Granted, the Lizardmen have so many good options. I mean, you can go with Jabba the Hutt, for his nets and just the ruination of cities and banishment. There's so many good tools, but in this match, we're going to go with KROQ, and then for our caster, we're actually going to get a Skink Priest with the Lore of Heavens. So Wind Blast is so incredibly good. If you use it against like Dark Shards, for example, it's able to do some pretty good damage against lightly armored targets, and if you overcast it, it also does a lot more armor-piercing damage. So you get just so much value out of that. On top of that, you do have Harmonic Convergence, which also buffs a single target entity. So if KROQ is dueling, like, for example, a Malekith on his dragon, which is a very tough duel for sure, especially with Soul Stealer, you're able to, have the leg up there, and you can use the Curse of the Midnight Wind in the front line to give your Saurus warriors that edge they need. Well, they don't really need it. They're already super strong. But again, it really helps quite a bit. So we've also gone very wide with Skinks. You can see we have a ton of javelins. We do also have some cohorts and different things like this. So we're going to be trying to put pressure on from a multitude of angles, because if he does have like Dark Shards and Dark Riders, the Chameleon Skink can do a pretty good job at dealing with Dark Riders. They have that missile resist, so they can pretty much outtrade them in missiles, and they can outtrade them in melee, because they do have 20 melee attack, 28 melee defense, and pretty good weapon strength, plus poison. So definitely some good stuff for the dinos. So we'll see what tricks up, my opponent's got up his sleeve. But the Dark Elves definitely have a good matchup here. They have really good armor-piercing missiles, and if they can get their repeater crossbow set up and shooting at KROQ, it can give it, real crunk nasty pretty quick. So we're going to put our javelins on the outside of our army as well. These guys are going to be kind of doing some skirmishing and obviously throwing their javelins, because they're pretty strong, and I think they apply poison. So if you're able to get like your paws on some Witch Elves or something like that, they can do some pretty good work. Let's put one group in the back just in case Malekith gets a little bit crazy and decides to fly over. We can do that. We do have our little Skink Goon Squad with like 1,000,000 ammunition on the Skink Chief, which everyone loves. And let's go ahead and get the Chameleons up in front. So yeah, the Chameleons are definitely, I think, essential. Really good counter to like Witch Elves and just for skirmishing. And if you want to get them into the back line, they can actually deal with like a lot of threats back there, like Dark Shards. And of course we have Gary. We got Gary the Lizard. So Gary's going to be in the back, his awesome Bastiladon. And one more, we have so many Skinks. It's like stressful microing all of them. All right, so let's get them here. I think that's going to be it. And my apologies for the noise. I just got a new mechanical keyboard. I've been apologizing like every video, but it's true. It's so obnoxious, I'm sure, but it's so much better for my hands. So we're just going to have to endure, guys. Great, so he's got some tricky business going on, so I'm not sure what he's doing. He's hiding in the forest, so we're going to go ahead and start scouting. The Chameleons can go ahead and run over here, see what we got. Looks like Harganeth Executioners. So yeah, we can fly our little lizard buddies over the top and, yeah, and just reposition. So it looks like he's got some Harpies. Harpies are actually pretty good at chasing down the Skinks, but if the Skinks get the first volleys on them and are able to poison them and slow them, it can be pretty bad for those guys. Big Daddy KROQ is kind of lurking nearby. We're probably going to start seeing his army here pretty shortly. Malekith on his mighty black dragon, which is going to be pretty good. So let's position like so. We can start flying over here. And the Chameleons, I guess we just run them back through the forest. I think we're just going to have to play that patient game. Just kind of position and, get ready to fight since he deployed over there. So we could go ahead and get like some cast here. So if you do overcast this, it gets increased armor piercing damage, as you see. So if you're using it against like elite, hard or black, black guards and things like that, you definitely want to be overcasting it probably. So. Okay, so those guys are coming up. We do have our Chameleons kind of coming through the forest here. It looks like there's probably going to be some breath attacks coming in, so he's actually going to be engaging here. So KROQ can go ahead and chase, and he does use the Gaze of Malice. There's not much we can do about that. There's no real counterplay to that. So we just got to run forward here with KROQ and see if we can get our paws on this guy. We do have our Skinks and our Chiefs, so we can get them kind of shooting here. Of course, we don't want the caster to be engaging, but KROQ might be able to get a pretty good little engagement. Ooh, if we get any damage on Malekith, this engagement could be very, very worth it for sure. Great, so these guys can kind of fight here. We do have our Skink Chief kind of shooting him with the darts and poisoning him, so we're not able to get too much good damage. It looks like Malekith is able to run away, so that's too bad, but it's, it is what it is. So we're going to kind of keep running over here with our Chameleons, and in the meantime, he's actually taking an engagement with the Cold One Knights. So we can go ahead and use Harmonic Convergence on these Skinks to make that fight that much harder. KROQ can go ahead and engage there as well, and it looks like he's going to be going with Harpies. He's really committing to this. That's some pretty heavy-duty stuff. So let's have this guy just kind of keep shooting him here. We do have our Chameleons to kind of start shooting Malekith up in the sky as well. And our little wizard is, having a good old time. So we could use the Wind Blast here. I don't really think we need to. Let's go ahead and get our infantry kind of, doing a bit of a cross engagement and going to fight his line so we can kind of isolate him over here. I think that's going to be the best case scenario. These guys, we want to pull around the far side to get ready to party, and great. So we're in good shape. We're getting a ton of damage on a lot of his cav and expensive units, and the Chameleons are now like here and ready to party, but we don't. Actually, let's pull him back this way. And Gary should be nearby. So Gary's nearby. We can go ahead and use the Revivification Crystal on these little poor Skinks here who took such a beating. And let's position them on the high ground, and good. So everything's stabilized for the most part. We did take a bit of shock damage in the beginning, but it is what it is. So he's positioning next to the edge of the map. We're going to get an overcasted Wind Blast on these guys in just a moment. We can have him keep shooting Malekith. And once they're kind of steady, let's go ahead and use Curse of the Midnight Wind to kind of lower some of their stats. And Big Daddy KROQ can just get in and start having some fun. Great, so let's go ahead and overcast this right down the line here on these Black Guard, and hopefully it'll do some pretty good damage. And we do get that cast. I think. That was good. That did some real solid work. So let's get these guys fighting here. We do have our chameleons that are now kind of stable, so let's get them going after these guys. And over here we do have a bit of a fight in the forest, which is okay. And great. Everything's going relatively to code. So let's actually just go ahead and chase Malekith. We want to be pressuring him with everything we have. You know, he's definitely the most valuable player on that team over there. So let's get these guys kind of pushing forward. These Saurus Warriors need to get on the appropriate target. We do have this, so we can go ahead and use Harmonic Convergence on KROQ, which is really just going to put this guy down so incredibly hard. So you can see Malekith's taking some work. Our chameleons we want to kite back, and we do have some extra troops. So let's go ahead and throw some javelins here, some auxiliary that I've been a little bit lazy about, but it's fine. We're able to get down Malekith. It looks like he's pretty low, so KROQ can go ahead and pop these abilities, just give him some, resistances, and we can keep chasing him here. And honestly, we can probably get this Heavens Caster and just go after Malekith there. And from there, we can just pull KROQ out this direction. Yeah, we definitely don't want to be caught up in all those spheres and different things like that. So the skink cohorts with the javelins, we want you guys to go up there and just have some fun. Let's get these guys back to start harassing in the front line. Saurus Warriors, we need to make sure you're engaged. Let's go ahead and get Gary, our good old friend Gary, re-engaged. So Malekith's in a little bit of trouble. Oh, he actually healed up with his Soul Stealer, so a little bit of sloppy play on my part. So let's go ahead and use the ability right here to kind of heal up. You know what? We actually do have Hand of the Gods, so let's run over here and kind of set that up. Cold Blood should be able to heal us up, and we have a great little engagement over here. So I think we're in good shape for the most part. Chameleons, let's pull back. These guys we can put in melee and have them go here. And Hand of the Gods, is it going to get a good enough angle right here? I think it might. So we're going to kind of keep going. Oh, that's like right above him. Oh, okay, that made some pretty good contact. All right, I'm happy about that. So the chameleons, let's kind of posh them here, just kind of keep shooting at him. And KROQ, we can just have him collapse. You know, it doesn't matter if you're fighting those type of units. If like, and we probably save up for the armor piercing variant. I think we can use Harmonic Convergence on that again. So Malekith's broken off the battlefield, so now we're going to go chase him with our little annoying skinks. In the forest, we have a pretty decent little fight going on against Arganeth, actually, and it looks like we're pulling that one out. So Gary does have another heal, so we can go ahead and heal KROQ. Probably going to be worth it for us, and yeah, the terror routing here is going to be pretty good. So our little chameleons, we can go ahead and pull them out. Looks like they did try and overchase on Malekith, which is not good. Let's get some of these Saurus Warriors up here. And the chameleons, we want to pull up and around. And it looks like that's going to be it. So my opponent's going to withdraw. So well played. We were able to stabilize. It got a little bit wild. I was a little bit late at getting into my extra units, but there's a lot to manage. And ultimately, I think we had some pretty good execution on taking out Malekith and countering some of his cav play up there in the beginning. Definitely a lot of shenanigans going on. So let's go ahead and take a look at the breakdown and see what went well. So Saurus Warriors, obviously huge performers. They do very well against like pretty much everything. I mean, 52 weapon strength is 52 weapon strength. I don't care what you tell me. Even if their AP is only 18, they're still going to do well. Hold the front line. We were able to just basically outplay Malekith with KROQ and use the chameleons to really shoot him out of the sky. Gary did his job. You know, he wasn't an MVP or anything, but Gary had a good old time. Filed some TPS reports. Was you know, always a good lad. Gary is. But yeah, he didn't have any missile units to pressure, so we didn't really get the best use out of our skinks. But honestly, like, we got some okay spears. I didn't really get a chance to show you guys, but I'm sure there were some javelins going off. I was clicking it and just not looking afterwards. But Heavens was good. You guys saw how powerful the Overcasted Wind Blast is, and it's very cheap. I mean, the Winds of Magic cost on that is like dirt cheap. So we were able to do some pretty good damage to his elite infantry, and yeah, honestly, it went pretty well across the board, I would say. But I definitely like the army composition. I feel like it would work against a build like this, just with sheer swarming and tactics like that. But I think it would have gone a little bit better for my opponent had Malekith not committed so hard in the beginning and taken so much damage. And also if the Cold One Riders had been kept in reserve. And just, you know, because the way they engaged just on skinks, then I was able to use Harmonic Convergence, which basically makes it so the skinks can pretty much fight them in melee, was not good for them. And then KROQ came and the Harpies got dragged down with them. And there was just a lot of variables that went a little bit south in the beginning of the battle. But personally, against the Lizardmen, the builds I really like to bring. So we can actually go ahead and show you guys like what I like to bring in this matchup. So we're going to go ahead and go to the custom battles here. Let's go ahead and go to the Dark Elves, and good. So I do like Malekith quite a bit on the Dragon. As far as abilities, cut these down. Probably bring Soul Stealer. I think these are kind of the staple. Soul Stealer, really good. Chill One's really good at slowing things, and it also does a little bit of damage. And for items, you can bring the Destroyer. It's not bad. It actually does add cooldowns to enemy casters and units nearby, so that can be pretty impactful. And in the front line, you have options, but honestly, like the Blackheart Corsairs do okay. Blackheart and Ogrond is you know, a pretty heavy overcompensation, expecting a ton of dinosaurs. So I think like 2 Harganeth, even 1 is probably fine. I don't know. Yeah, 2 is pretty helpful. They really smash the Saurus Warriors. Witch Elves are also a staple here. Get 3 Witch Elves. You won't regret it. 2 or 3 Witch Elves. If they catch KROQ or catch anything, that unit is pretty much dead. So I think that's pretty solid. You can get some of these guys. You can even get a couple Dread Spears to kind of just hold the front line together. So it's a very infantry-heavy army. See what I'm saying? Like, you can potentially cut one of these guys. The Repeater Crossbows, very solid. You know, they hit like Dark Shards, they're mobile, they can avoid Chameleon Skinks with their speed, and obviously the Lizardmen don't have any cav that can really catch them, so I just use them in the back line. Like, I have them behind my infantry shooting at KROQ, and with effective play, you can zone out KROQ very easily here. So you can do that, and then on top of that, you get 1 group of Cold One Knights, just in case KROQ does go back there. It's nice to have that anti-large, but if KROQ goes back there, like, you just get him with Witch Elves, and Malekith and the Cold One Knights and the Repeaters can just cut him to shreds. So, you know, on top of that, the one thing I would really like to maybe still have in this build would be like one of these guys. So you can go with a little something like this. And I feel like this is going to be a very powerful build. Now, obviously, we can't spend that much money. You just chevron up your front line. So you're going to have the Harganeth and the Blackheart Corsairs and the Dread Spears kind of holding the front line. They have good enough melee defense. The Dark Riders are going to be taking out the big targets. Malekith can obviously help deal with Saurus Warriors. I feel like this is the build I would probably go just off the top of my head. I haven't played them in a while, so I'm a little bit rusty, but that would just be my 2 cents. So hopefully you guys enjoyed seeing this live showdown between the Lizard People and the Dark Elves. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the match. And guys, have an excellent night and take care.